Sabi nila, no, masama yung crypto at NFT. Nagdudulot lang to ng mga scam, pati mga masasamang loob. Pero what if pwede din itong magamit sa kabutihan, katulad ng ginagawa ng Genban? Hi guys, I'm John aka Soral. Welcome to your YouTube channel for your NFT Play Toy reviews. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Kaya, let's go! Okay guys, nandito yung kanilang Linktree. Dito sa Linktree nila makikita yung iba't ibang social media presence sila. From the website, the AMA session, Twitter, OpenSea, Discord, Telegram, Skirpy, Instagram, Reddit, Medium, at yung Tesseract FB page, yung kumpanya na in charge dito sa Genban series na to. So yung kanilang website ay genban.io. So they want you to be part of the community which empower the world for a better place. So they will use this NFT art para makatulong sa mundo, no, through charities as well. So ano ba itong Genban series na to? So itong Genban series na to is a part of the Tesseract crypto project, which is Tesseract is a legitimate company dito sa Pilipinas. Yes, no? You heard that right. No, mga Pinoy po yung mga nandito at nakamiting ko na rin po yung iba sa kanila which is legit naman po. And their goal nga is to empower world for a better place with their 888 collection ng Genban series na yan. So paano ba sila makakatulong? Ganito lang yan. Yung 50% dito sa sales na to, dito sa 888 collection na to, is mapupunta sa charity. Then, yung 5% royalties sa secondary market sales, yung 25% doon is mapupunta rin sa charity. At tayong mga NFT holders itong Genban series ang mamimili kung saan mapupunta. Kung ano yung isosolve natin na social tags like poverty, hunger, health, environment, science and technology, pati education. Tayo mamimili. Then, hindi po nagtatapos doon kasi they are aiming, guys, to build a supportive and positive impact community na magbi-bridge ng gap within the cryptocurrency pati mga crowdfunding charities na ito. Then, they're also aim to give exclusive facilities para sa ating mga holders to specify kung anong charities ang magandang lagyan ng ating donation para magkaroon naman tayo ng big and positive impact dito sa society na hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas, pati sa buong mundo. And syempre, hindi nagtatapos to sa charity. They are aiming to become the NFT incubator na sumusuporta sa mga NFT ventures. May mga gagandang idea at magbibuild ng magandang sustainable NFT ecosystem as well. So ito yung Genban origin story. Itong mga Genbans na to ay generous bunnies na naninirahan sila sa moon. So nakita nila yung Earth may unexplainable darkness daw na binablock niya yung light from the sun. So ang ginawa nitong mga generous bunnies na to ay pumunta sa Earth para i-resolve kung ano ba nangyayari dito sa mundo. At itong Genbans na to, si Verity, Natev, Ition, Hal, pati si Ellens, symbolizes yung 5 na social tags na pwede nating i-resolve by having some donation do sa mga charities na yon. Like environment, science and technology, poverty and hunger, education, pati health. So makikita natin dito to be discussed pa yung mga charity name. Pero nagkaroon ako mga in-hand information, hindi ko alam kung pwede ko itong i-share. Pero in case lang, delete lang natin kung hindi pwede. Pero ito yung nakita ko sa isa sa mga charity, itong actionagainsthunger.org. Okay, magandang bagay ito, makatulong tayo sa Africa, which is one of the countries or continent na talagang talamak yung kagutuman, di ba? So maganda makatulong tayo kahit do sa kaunting halaga na maidodonate natin sa kanila. When I say kaunting halaga, guys, dito sa Discord community kasi nakalagay yung minting price sila 0.01 WETH. Sa Polygon network po ito. At yung WETH niya, pag kinonvert yan to peso, 1,600 lang. So sa 1,600 doon, maaari tayo makatulong, di ba? Not bad. At hindi lang yon, syempre maaari mag-appreciate pa ito yung value because the utility nga is they're becoming NFT venture itself. No, yun ang utility na ma-expect natin, hindi lang yung charity. So ito yung roadmap nila, no? Quarter 4 2021, yung foundation. So yun dyan nagkaroon ng recruitment ng mga talents, tapos coding of smart contract on Polygon network, tapos pagko-complete ng NFT design do sa 8,888 na yon, then the website itself. Tapos nung quarter 1 2022, nagkaroon na ng security audit dito sa smart contract to prevent vulnerabilities pati mga issues. Then drafting of website user agreement and minting stipulations. Papunta tayo sa launch announcement of the final date which is February 25 at may mga nauna ng mga private sale po dito. So Yung mga privacy na yan, 100 NFTs, tas may mga collaboration po sila like kay Inko. Yan, isang Indonesian NFT community. Yan, meron na silang collaboration na both yung kanilang hangarin ay iisa. Then syempre, pag-open ng minting page for public buyers as well. So, ang susunod dyan is magpapalit sila sa major crypto exchange trackers like CoinMarketCap pati CoinGecko. Then, start of development ng mga holders platform on ownership verification. Dito mangyayari yung voting, counting results, and other utilities. Tapos, yung support on the listing of the NFTs on secondary market aside from OpenSea. Then, susunod dyan yung helping hand. Nandiyan na yung first charity voting kung saan mapupunta yung 50% sold milestone na yan. Kumbaga, pipili tayo ng charity beneficiaries na. Then, first transparency reporting to provide proof of donation 1 month after na makapili tayo ng charity. Then, officialized partnership with charity and beneficiaries chosen by the community itself. So, dito sa quarter 2, 2022, continuation lang po ito. They will start securing corporation and blockchain sponsorship and partnerships. Then, magkakandak na sila ng security audit on the holders platform to prevent vulnerabilities and issues naman. Then, launch ng holders platform as well. Then, the second charity voting para ito sa susunod na charity na makakatanggap ng donations natin. So, on quarter 3 to quarter 4, 2022, nandito na po yung announcement ng NFT Startup Accelerator Fund para may magandang utility pa yung ating mga GenBands. Exploration of possibility of portability of NFT collection between other platforms and blockchains, launch ng NFT Startup Acceleration Fund, pati yung first GenBan Gala for top 100 hodlers to be conducted in Boracay, Philippines. Grabe, no? May pabora sila. For the future, no? Possible development of crowdfunding token. Yan, maganda yan. Magkakaroon na sila ng token. The creation of hodlers benefit cards. Launch of holders platform in time for the second charity voting, then scoping other use cases for the collection with potential participation sa metaverse or gaming industry. Then ito po yung team nila, docs po yan, you can check their profile, legit na legit, hindi po yung kakagawa lang. Okay? Pero dito sa website, naka-GenBan lang sila. Pero kung titignan yung Twitter nito ni Ma'am Regina, yung head ng marketing, docs naman po. Okay? Since 2009 pa yung profile niya. At nandito yung partners niya, yung Teselex Research Corporation, Inco NFT Community, Febi Metasari, pati Lyceum University of the Philippines. Okay? Trenton Computing Enterprise, pati si Mr. Fish Vlogs. Ito yung ibang mga socials, Instagram, yan, no? Yung mismong medium nila, kung saan natin nasagap yung balita ng partnership with Inco. Then the Facebook page of the Teselex Educational Research Center. So bago tayo magtapos, pakita ko lang ibang information dito sa deck na ibinigay nila sa akin, like the February 25 public launch nga nila. So magkakaroon ng private launch on February 23, 0.01 yung WETH. Tapos Polygon blockchain po ito. Nabanggit ko na kanina, no, yung meaning ng GenBan, Generous Bunnies. Tapos kung titingnan natin yung logo nila, ayan, no, G pala yung pati B, yung bunny nakatingin sa moon. So maliban sa crowdfunding NFT platform, they want to be the first ever participative, growth-oriented NFT social enterprise na tumutulong hindi lang dito sa Pilipinas kundi internationally. And syempre developing the NFT ecosystem dito sa Southeast Asia as well. And yun lang guys, no? Alam ko hindi ito game but it is good minsan, no, tumulong sa kapwa via this platform. At syempre, if you will be part of this project, only risk an amount that you can afford to lose, and also enjoy lang natin tumulong sa kapwa natin. So, ano sa tingin nyo guys? Comment down below, at kung gusto nyo pa ng mga ganitong content, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Hanggang sa muli guys! Babu!